This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
If you're a seeker, don't miss the inspiring book Shamanic Awakening, Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Cochran's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers throughout the Americas. Sandy's initiations across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt, combined with her knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth, influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private readings, sacred international journeys, a meditative CD, and her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate your earth walk and create a deeper connection to yourself. Find this and more at her website, starwalkervisions.com.
Welcome to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, where in a single moment you can recognize your brilliance and change your life. This is a transformational hour that covers an array of topics that demonstrate how individuals use their native talents, as shown in their name, to look at the ordinary in extraordinary ways. Albert Einstein once said that everybody is a genius. Why would one of the smartest people on the planet declare that everyone is a genius unless he knew that to be true? I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and in each weekly show you'll hear the fascinating ways other people discovered the genius in them and what they were able to accomplish. At the end of each of our shows, you'll hear clues on how you can recognize your own innate genius. All over the world, people have many, many diverse interests, and in that vein, people have asked about different occupations and areas of life that have highly interested them. People want to know how highly successful people have managed to achieve their genius mindset by utilizing the gifts that are seen in their name using namology science. Some of the letters asked about how does someone express their creative talents and how does someone share those talents with others in such a way that all benefit. Our expert tonight is once again Chiam Solomon, who has developed his genius in the area of teaching abstract ideas about life. Chiam's explanations are so terrific that we wanted him back to continue our conversation from 2 weeks ago. After finishing his education at the prestigious Yeshiva Kol Yehuda in New York, where he became an ordained rabbi, Chiam took up his discipleship under Rabbi Berg, focusing on three major Kabbalistic texts as his area of specialty: the Zohar, the writings of Rabbi Isaac Luria, the Ari, and the 10 luminous emanations. Part of the Chiam's unique ability to relate this ancient wisdom to a modern audience is his time spent at UCLA pursuing biology and pre-med studies, as well as 10 years studying various metaphysical teachings, such as religious science, science of mind, in which he became a licensed practitioner and minister, theosophy, keys of Enoch, Buddhism, Upanishad, and the Bhagavad Gita. All of this wisdom is brought to bear in Chiam's work with students, his specialty being health, relationships, reincarnation, dreams, and meditation. He leads sold-out seminars internationally and counsels students privately each week. He's taught in major cities around the world, including New York, Toronto, Mexico City, Los Angeles, London, Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, Lisbon, Chicago, and Miami. He now teaches and resides in Boca Raton, Florida, with his wife and 4 children. Many people who have heard Chiam consider his greatest gifts as teaching in parables, as the marvelous stories he tells definitely help his audience understand complicated concepts. Last time Chiam Solomon was on Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, we focused on the part of his name that indicates that he has surrounded himself with wise leaders from which to learn, that he has a tendency to be a workaholic, and is an avid reader and considers family a priority. This time we'll add to his name that it also indicates he has a lucky streak in his name and that he'll always land on his feet regardless of what happens in his life. Welcome back to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You.
Wow, thank you very much. It's great to be with you. It's great to be with you in the audience. Thank you for the opportunity.
We only have a very short time before break, but I'd like to take that opportunity for once again for you to just explain what the Zohar is, since we're going to be referring to it frequently during this interview.
All right. The Zohar is the source of all Kabbalistic wisdom, and essentially what the Kabbalists have taught us, it's literally the blueprint of the universe. So anything that you've ever heard, experienced, learned, read, whatever religious or spiritual teachings, etc., they are all sourced in this wisdom called the Zohar. And that's why the Zohar can and is uniting peoples of all various cultures, religions, races, religious backgrounds into unity, into oneness, into harmony and peace.
So what language was the Zohar written in?
The Zohar is originally written in Aramaic, which is the language of the soul. When you go back to the biblical story of the Tower of Babel, before the confusion of the languages, every human being on earth spoke the same language, which was Hebrew and Aramaic, made up of the Hebrew letters. It's only after the Tower of Babel, if you read even the literal story, it says then there was the confusing of the languages. And that's why I had a book given to me in Los Angeles, 20,000 English words with their Hebrew derivation, just to validate this idea that every one of us on a soul level understand or are awakened by the Hebrew letters or the Aramaic words. And that's why
we're going to continue learning about the Hebrew letters and the Aramaic words once we come back. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which can be heard on knowthename.com. After the break, we'll find out what the Zohar has to say about names.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Nemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created Nemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is being heard on xzbn.net and knowthename.com. Our guest tonight is Chiam Solomon, whose website is boca-kabbalah.com. Okay, before the break, you were starting to tell us that at one time everybody spoke the same languages and understood, and that Hebrew and Arabic are the same. Are even the letters the same, Chiam?
Yes, Hebrew and Aramaic come from the same letters, but let's say like English and Spanish. Basically same alphabet, but different language. So what the Kabbalists explain, and it is not exclusive to Kabbalah, if you've studied the keys of Enoch or the Rosicrucians or the Masons, and I'm sure there's others out there that also say the same thing, that the Hebrew letters or the Aramaic letters are the DNA of the soul. So in a similar way that every human being has the same basic DNA, what they call A, T, C, and G, what makes us different is the combination of those elements. So similarly, what makes every one of us different, and frankly, every aspect of the physical world different, is the combination of Hebrew letter energy that makes up our body, our soul, the physical world, the plants, the animals, the stars and the planets, etc. And that's why Adam and Eve, speaking from the soul, the first language or verbalization was Hebrew. And so everything is given a name. You had asked about names according to those letters. So let's see, A, T, C, and G. I'm not sure how we could say that. Akda, all right? If you take the Hebrew letters as energy, and those combinations make up something, let's say a cow. The DNA of a cow is called para. It's the letters Pei, Resh, Hey. And that's why it says in the Bible, whatever Adam called it, that was its name. Because when he looked around the world, Adam and Eve were on such a level they could see with spiritual vision before they made the mistake that we think of as the tree of knowledge, good and evil. They could see the energy. So they could pierce right through the physicality and see the combination of Hebrew energies, energy forces called the letters, and that was the name. They just pronounced those letters, and that was the name of the cow, the donkey, whatever, plants, animals, etc. And so with us, every person's name, as your nemology explains in English, similarly in the Hebrew, every one of our souls has a soul name, if you will, a frequency of energy of those combinations of letters that will allow more of our soul's light to be unlocked, revealed, and projected into the world. And that's why so many people, even in English, or certainly in Hebrew, when they've gone through different situations or they're no longer feeling connected to a name, they will change their name. In traditional Judaism, if a person is sick, they often added a name or changed a name, understanding without the deepest Kabbalistic idea that, changing the name could change the luck, change the destiny, change the future.
Well, I know in namology science, we try very hard when we're helping someone create a new name that we keep the same essence of the name that they had before, so that the lessons are still there and the gifts are still there, but how they go about it is easier for them or has more light and energy with it. Now, does the Zohar do that too when you're helping somebody change names?
Well, in essence, what the Kabbalists teach us, and I know I'm referring back and forth to the Bible, and the Kabbalists believe that the Bible has its literal fact, that it is chronology, it is history. We do believe Adam and Eve and Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, all those people did exist. But the stories that we read in the Bible are, let's say, the tip of the iceberg. And the Zohar, being the deepest connection to our soul's energy, to the true metaphysical, spiritual creation of the universe, is giving us the below the surface of that iceberg. So we have the greater understanding, and by looking inside the stories, we draw the eternal nature of the lessons we can learn, and that the power that these people were showing us. So when you change the name, you're not really changing the soul, because when it says God created us in its image and likeness, it already gave us a piece of itself, so to speak. So that's our soul. So our soul has 100% potential for peace, contentment, love, kindness, what we call fulfillment, complete bliss. Now, our work is to open, let's say, our heart, our soul, to open, we call it our vessel, to let the 100% light shine. So in altering a name, it's basically like opening or closing an aperture in a camera. So it lets a certain amount of light in, or it blocks a certain amount of light. So when a person has difficulties in their life, it's a sign that the light of their soul is not being expressed, manifest, projected into their life because of some spiritual blockage of whatever our negative behaviors, anger, fear, insecurity, jealousy, greed, ego, anything that's not God-like, puts a blockage in. So then by altering the name, we're altering those blockages and removing them, so that more of our soul's light that is hiding inside of us will shine out. So a person's business can change, their health can change, their relationships can change by revealing more of their potential. It's similar when a parent looks at a child and they say, oh, I know my child has a certain God-given ability. Well, then they ideally want to bring some kind of training to the child or education to manifest all of that talent. They're not really putting talent in the child. They're allowing what's there to come out and be expressed and benefit the child and people around them.
When someone changes their name, or maybe they leave the letters the same, but they're changing the enunciation, like Simon could be Shimon, does that make a difference in the energy and the light that's coming in, or is it just the letters?
Well, it's a little of both, because when you go back to the original language, Aramaic and Hebrew, what we generally refer to as the letters are what we would call consonants, and the vowels, if you've ever seen Hebrew written or printed in a book, the vowels are the little dots and dashes that are around the letters. So the Kabbalists explain there is power to those vowels that alter or enhance the energy. So like you're saying, sometimes the pronunciation can change the vibration of a person, but the basic structure is the letters. We have the biblical story of Abraham and Sarah, who changed their name. They altered their name, and that changed their destiny. So in the same way, that's why we learn a name is so important.
Well, and I use that as an example a lot, because once they changed their names, they both had the AH combination in their name. And in namology science, the AH says you're now on mission for God, and you're now in service, total service. So we find all of this fascinating with the names. I'm curious, Chiam, Were there stumbling blocks along the way when you were studying the Zohar? I mean, did it ever cause you to feel like an outcast because you were studying something differently than somebody else, or they had and you just wanted to wake everybody up? Or how did that feel, and what stumbling blocks when you were learning about the Zohar?
Well, like you mentioned a little in the introduction, I spent 10 years studying science of mind. I was a minister in science of mind, and I was studying anything I could get my hands on because I just knew intuitively that there was a spiritual realm that had all the answers. I mean, if God is pure and perfect, then there has to be a realm related to our world that is also pure and perfect. But I hadn't come across the technology to understand it until I was dropped in the Kabbalah Center. Now, I found the Kabbalah Center in 1987. And back then, we were the only people on the planet really teaching Kabbalah. So, of course, there was a lot of resistance. There was a lot of hesitancy because tradition says that Kabbalah should only be taught. The Zohar should be held in the highest regard and therefore only studied by the most holy people on earth. And yet, as I've come to understand and now share with tens of thousands of people over the years, that the Zohar, the true Kabbalists have written for thousands of years, the Zohar belongs to every human being on earth because it's the way to awaken and manifest all of the blessings that God put inside of us. And there's not one human being on earth who doesn't deserve that, because if God created us and gave us these tools and these technologies, there's no human being on earth who has the right to deny any person that, because it's the way we can bring harmony and unity to humanity. And what every religion and spiritual teaching is working towards, heaven on earth, peace on earth, goodwill towards all mankind, unconditional love, love your neighbors, yourself. All those terms just represent taking what we were in the endless world, one unified humanity, and make it manifest here on earth. But that's our job. It's not up to God. God did its work already by creating perfection. We were given free will to either hide that perfection or reveal that perfection. And that's what Kabbalah is about, teaching.
Many times we were told that you didn't study the Kabbalah until you were at least age 40. And yet now I see it being taught younger and younger. Do you have a perfect age or a wonderful time to start?
Well, if you want to really be technical, ideally when parents are conceiving a child, they're already conceiving them in the consciousness of Zohar and Kabbalah. So the child's soul is being drawn from a level that's already open to these teachings, this wisdom, these tools and technology. So in the Zohar it says, in the days that we are in, remember the Zohar, if it's the blueprint of the universe, it's eternal. From the beginning of this world till we go back to the metaphysical endless world of absolute perfection, the wisdom is there. Nothing can be altered or changed. It's all there. So it says in the Zohar that children, I mean, they, as best I can remember, the number that I've seen is 3-year-old. Because, before that point, it's a little difficult to teach them.
Okay, hold that thought. Stay tuned and know the name, The Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Chaim Solomon, whose website is www.boca.kabbalah, KABBALAH.com. This show is dedicated to learning more about our purpose here on Earth. After the break, we'll find out why there are 72 names of God and how they can be utilized as windows to awaken people.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wyeth. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wyeth, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wyeth, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, soul balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Chiam Solomon. The main website to learn more about the Zohar is Kabbalah.com. Chiam, before the break, you were telling us about starting to teach the Zohar at age 3. Why age 3?
Well, there's a Kabbalistic concept called the 3-column system, which works in various ways. You have proton, neutron, and electron, the basic building blocks of physical matter, and everything in the physical world patterned on the spiritual world. So there are 3 aspects in the spiritual world known as the right column, left column, and central column, which is the light of the Creator, the soul or the receiver in human beings, and then the balance between them. And that's the essence of Kabbalah. We cannot change the light of the Creator, and we cannot change what's put in our soul. But what we can do, and what our spiritual work is about, is creating the harmony between those two essentially opposite things. The light is the 100% aspect of sharing, illumination, fulfillment, and the vessel is 100% receptivity, receiving, desiring, wanting. So what Kabbalah is about is how do we awaken inside of us the 100% desire for the pure light of the Creator, and then allow the light of the Creator to manifest in the physical world as the best situations in our life, the inspiration we need to deal with situations or challenges in our life, the right people, the right job, all the right things in our life. Because most people, because we are built with that desire to receive, most people are desiring to receive, they want this car, they want that person, they want this job, they've got to have these clothes, they've got to get on this vacation, etc. So it's really about readjusting, not our desire to receive, not reducing that, but altering the focus of it. So instead of just deciding, look, God, this is the person I need to have, this is the money I need to have, this is the job I want, give me in this way, we're really just allowing our soul's light to shine in the world, and then let the universe manifest that as best for us. I mean, many times we know stories of people who sort of force the issue spiritually. I have to have this. So they put their energy, their focus, and let's call it their own personal power to make this job happen. But unfortunately, in their karmic, or we call it in their tikkun process, they were supposed to be in a car accident. So instead of letting the light be revealed and take away the car accident and avoid the car accident, they use that energy, their power, to direct them towards getting the right a person they wanted or getting a job they wanted. And meanwhile, they don't take away the car accident, and here comes the car accident. So Kabbalah is really about just shining the light that the Creator put in our soul, do what we can do to make it manifest, which is also good for everyone else, because to shine your light, it's love, kindness, compassion, generosity, tolerance, forgiveness, understanding, etc. And then let the universe, our partner in creation, take that light and mold it physically into whatever's best for us. Because the universe is programmed that as we activate the universe through our behavior, either positive or negative, the universe is programmed to create a result. Just like a computer, your cell phone, a video game. Video game, I love that analogy because I watch my kids play, but I know that it's all programmed. So if they do a certain thing, the video game is programmed to respond in a certain way. If they do something else, then it's programmed to respond a different way. So the universe is like that. That's why so many teachings say the universe reflects back what you do. So if we do acts of kindness, love, sharing, compassion outside of our comfort zone, that extra mile, if you will, then the universe is programmed to do the extra mile for us, whether that means to take away an accident, an illness, some form of chaos, or to bring us what we call a blessing, to put us with the right people, find us the right job, give us the inspiration or the clarity how to deal with situations. But it's a partnership. It's not me by myself. It's not the universe by itself. We're here in this physical world as a body and a soul, as the infinite light of the Creator, and the physical material world. And our job is to unite them harmoniously so that the spiritual controls the physical. Sadly, we've been duped by that negative aspect within us to let the physical control the spiritual and override it. And that's why we see the chaos in the world. But on the other hand, the chaos in the world is starting to push more and more people to seek spirituality because the soul is being awakened. It's sort of on a timer, and it's awakening now more than ever. So people are seeking spirituality of all kinds because they realize from the material world alone, there's no solution. No doctors, medicine, no scientists, no politicians, no military has solved really anything long term. So why would it start now? So people starting to feel the soul awakening, that the soul has the power, that we've been given the power to change the world. And that's all that Kabbalah is teaching.
So it's just wonderful that souls are awakening. It's almost sad that it takes pain or negativity and able to inspire us to awaken, but that brings us to the need for an opponent. Would you tell us more about the reason that an opponent was built into the whole programming?
Well, I go back to the gym. I like sports. I like working out. So let's stick with sports. So I used to play tennis. To be a better tennis player, I have to hire or find a coach. The coach's job that I've requested is to seek out my weaknesses and help me strengthen my tennis skill instead of those weaknesses. So if I have a weak backhand, the coach sits on the other side of the net and throws one ball after another at my backhand. It could be frustrating to me, it could be disturbing, but I know in the long run, the practice and the repetition makes me a better tennis player, strengthens my backhand. So when we came out of the endless world, we essentially hired an opponent to put some resistance so we wouldn't just come down here and say, well, if I'm a little nicer and kinder and more generous or forgiving, I'm going to have infinite bliss. If it's too easy, then from our point of view, it's also worthless. We lose the value of it. When we have to make some effort to achieve things in our life, we find more fulfillment and more value in it. So we essentially hired this thing called the opponent, the adversary, to just put some resistance. But sadly, like if I'm playing tennis, if I lose, if I give, my backhand is weak, I lose the point, now I'm an extra point behind. If I lose the next point, now I'm 2 points behind. So the more we've given into or lost, so to speak, to our opponent, the more we have to make up to catch up and win. In the end of the story, we will win because that's the way the Creator set out the world. But we have to go through the process. Kabbalah is not about making the end happen because the end is already predestined. It's about speeding up the process by teaching people how to transform themselves voluntarily, how to awaken and decide, no, today I want to act with greater love, kindness, and compassion, even though I don't feel like it. I feel angry at this person, but because I want more blessing in my life, I'm going to wish them well. I'm going to act with kindness and understanding and compassion. I'm going to meditate to shine the light of my soul out on that person. And in doing that, I transform, from my point of view, darkness to light, chaos to order. And each one of us have our own individual relationship, if you will, with the universe, with God. So it's like one-on-one. And every person in my life is my arena to express my godlike behavior. And when I do that, cause and effect brings it back to me. If I shine light and act kind and compassionate towards somebody else, and they still want to hold on to their negativity, it's cause and effect for them, separate from my cause and effect. So they'll have chaos, I'll have greater harmony and order. They'll have discord, I'll have peace of mind. So the opponent also tries to trap us in worrying about the other person. If I send them light and act nicely, I expect them to be nice to me. No, it may not be that way, but the universe will find a way to bring it back to me. Good will always come my way in unexpected
One
manners.
faces opponents in many ways. How do we know we'll survive or we'll make it? Is the universe set up complicit with humans so that we all eventually win?
That's a very nice way to put it. Absolutely. I mean, think of it. If the infinite Creator said, I want you to have total bliss, I'm filling your soul with my infinite light of total bliss, contentment, peace, and blessings, then in the end of the story, of course that's how we're going to end up. Like my teachers, the Rav Berg and Karen Berg, have been saying over and over for 30 years I'm in the center. You walk into a dark room, you turn on any light source. Who wins, the light or the darkness? The light will dispel the darkness. Darkness will never overcome the light. we have to turn off the light, so to speak, to make the darkness show up again. But as long as we're shining the light, darkness can't overtake it. So too spiritually. And that's why every religion is based on the most fundamental idea, love your neighbor as yourself. As we're shining light to everybody and we're acting with that unconditional love, then our world is enlightened. And when we get more and more people on that same page to make their world enlightened, pretty soon we've reached a critical mass, and every human being on earth will see the light, be drawn to the light, and the opponent will have no more chance. None whatsoever.
Is that when the opponents will disappear, or what happens?
Yes, the Zohar calls it, that's when, as it's traditionally known, the evil inclination, the one, our ego and our selfishness, will be transformed into the good inclination. Like darkness. If you walk in a dark room and you turn on the light, does the darkness go outside the room? Does the darkness move somewhere? No, it just disappears because it's not real. It's not eternal. The light is eternal. The light is real. The darkness just vanishes. Ask a scientist, definition of darkness, absence of light. But what's the definition of darkness? No, it's the absence of light, because there is no such thing. It's only light.
So,
now, sorry.
Go ahead. In the 1,000 years of peace and prosperity that everyone has been promised, regardless of what religion that they're following, would that mean that the darkness just disappears at that time? Is that what the goal is, or is that what causes that 1,000 years of peace and prosperity?
Well, the 1,000 years comes from the first verses in Genesis. Essentially, God created the world, it says, in 6 days, and the seventh day is the day of rest, the Sabbath. So the Kabbalists explain that those 6 days represent the time that we have to do our spiritual work. But by the end of that 6th day, when the seventh day of rest is entering in, which is that 1,000 years of peace, by that time, one way or another, we are going to be perfect beings. We're going to be 100% expressive of our godlike nature. Now, as we get closer and closer to that deadline, which is coming up very fast, there's more and more pressure, which is why we see so much chaos and so much pressure. I'm sorry?
Know the Name, Know the Genius in You on xzbn.net and knowthename.com. After the break, we'll find out what Chaim Solomon has in his name that has assisted him, that you may have in your name as well. And we'll continue the conversation that is just so marvelous, with Chaim sharing so much of his knowledge in a way that we can all understand. Stay tuned.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O. Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Chiam Solomon, whose website is Kabbalah.com. Chiam was taking his skills to a level where he's able to assist others to raise their own consciousness by becoming more aware. Chiam, before we come back to what we were talking to before the break, we had promised our listeners to talk to us about the 72 names of God and how they can be utilized to awaken the light within us.
Okay. The first thing to understand, 72 names of God represent 72 attributes of the Creator. So when we think of love and kindness and forgiveness and good thoughts and healing and prosperity, those are what are known as the names of God. Now, those names are 3 Hebrew letter combinations, and as we said in the beginning of the program, the Hebrew letters are portals and channels of the light of the Creator. So they emanate energy. Because our soul is already filled with light, if you will, pre-programmed, so to speak, then our job is to put the two together. So literally by scanning or visualizing those letters with our eyes, we're allowing the energy from those 3 energy forces to pierce through the eyes, reach into our soul, and activate the DNA of the Creator inside of us. So each one of them can be utilized like function buttons on a computer keyboard. As we're scanning them, they're awakening these different attributes inside of us. And so every human being on earth, regardless of the language they know or their religious background, etc., because the Hebrew letters are in the DNA of every human being on earth, every human being has a spiritual awakening by using those 72 names. And where do we find them encoded in the Bible? In Exodus, I believe it's chapter 14, verses 19, 20, and 21. It's the only place in the 5 books of Moses you have 3 consecutive verses with 72 letters. So the Zohar takes those 3 verses and combines them so that you have 72 3-letter combinations. And where is this? What's the story in those verses? The splitting of the Red Sea. So what the Kabbalists explain is this is the technology Moses used to split the Red Sea and allow the Israelites to pass through. So we explain to people by scanning the 72 names, it allows us to split our own Red Sea. Person has trouble with business or family or health or just no peace of mind or whatever their particular issue is like the Red Sea. You almost see no way through it. But by scanning the 72 names and meditating to shine that light force of your soul out into the world, then that darkness of the Red Sea splits. And now you have inspiration, you have guidance, you have clarity, just like the story says. And the Israelites were able to cross on dry ground.
So you're talking about sharing the light. And we hear that term used frequently, sharing the light. And how do people share the light? And does everybody know how? Because I think there might be a lot of listeners that are saying, I don't know what he means by that, and I don't know if I'm capable of doing that.
Yes. Well, thank you for the question, and let me clarify. Every human being on earth can, and it's really simple, which is kind of the paradox of all of this. All we have to do is think. You have the light in your soul, and when you think, I'm sharing the light of my soul with my family, with my friends, with people around the world, then the light shines out of your soul like a beacon or a spotlight and shines out where you direct it. Similarly, when a person thinks, I want to extend my right hand to reach out and grab something from the table, the body automatically responds. We don't have to think consciously. I'm sending signals from my brain through the nervous system to my arms, contracting the biceps, this, that, and other, and make the hand reach out. No, I just think I want to reach out. The body follows that order. So if I think I'm sending the light of my soul out to every human being on earth, then the soul will send light to every human being on earth. It's a conscious thought. That's why the Kabbalists teach us our thoughts are constantly creating. I know, many spiritualities say thoughts are things. The thoughts are creating. We're just learning how to focus our thoughts in sending the light, love, kindness, all the godlike behavior so that we're creating a more illuminated and blessed world. And imagine, because like attracts like, when we open our heart and we open our soul and we're shining the light of unconditional love, the light of the Creator to every human being on earth, it pierces through their negativity and goes right inside their heart and soul. So eventually, when enough of us are shining light on every human being on earth, even the worst, most quote-unquote evil person on earth, the light of God will awaken inside of them and they will have a transformation. We read that in the Bible. We've seen, stories just in life, people who were thieves or, they were negative people and they had this spiritual awakening and they changed, etc. Because the light is there. We don't have to bring light into our soul. We just have to activate it. So as we can all send light to every person on earth, we're activating more and more of that light until we're all shining 100%. As we were saying before,
wow.
The center...
That sounds easy. That just sounds so easy to do if all you have to do is think about it.
Yes,
you were saying that light is light. However, we also have a saying that we hear a lot that says opposites attract. So is it light attracts light, or is it opposites attract, or do they attract and then they repel?
Well, the Kabbalists teach us like attracts like. It's called the law of affinity. In other words, when we say in this world, opposites attract. So what do we usually look at? You look at two people and you say, well, this person is a giver and this person is a taker, and that's why they're attracted to each other. But when you really dig in deep, you see that the giver is not giving in a way of sharing, just unconditionally sharing their light. They're giving in order to get something from the other person. Well, the other person's a little more obvious because they're just look to receive to get something for themselves. So essentially it goes back to like attracts like, but the one who's giving is still looking to get for themselves. The one who's receiving is also looking to get for themselves. So it is like attracts like, but the expression, the outside looks different. It's like when you go to the supermarket and you hand the cashier money, can you really tell me, yes, I went to the store and I gave charity? I'm not giving charity. I'm buying the groceries, but the act is giving. So you say, oh, look at Chiam, he's giving money to the store. No, my intent was give money so I could take my groceries out of the store. So when we think we see opposites attract, when you dig in deeper, you see, no, it's still the law of affinity. It's really like attracts like.
If you could change one thing about everyone's understanding or how they look at the world, what would be the first thing that you wish everybody knew?
Well, frankly, it's the thing that I make an effort to emphasize in every class that I teach, is to hold and keep reminding ourselves we are created in the image and likeness of God, which means we are already pure and perfect beings of light. Because the more people can hold that in their consciousness, then it becomes easier to remove the chaos from their life, to remember that it's not about other people blocking your blessings. Nobody can stop your blessings because they're already inside you. So as you let them out is when you have the benefit of them, and other people will be inspired by your transformation and your expression of it to do the same thing. So that, I think, is probably the most difficult thing for us to keep in our mind. We're already pure and perfect. We just have to uncover it. We have to let it shine into the world. And I think if everybody did that, just that much, realized I'm pure and perfect, so I have an infinite supply of light, I'm sending it to every human being on earth, by the morning we could see peace and harmony throughout the world.
Wow, and that would be a miracle. This is so hard to find miracle or say, what we would interpret as a miracle, what that really consists of?
Sure. A miracle, we think in human terms, a miracle is something that's supernatural. If you understand that word in its literal meaning, it means something beyond nature. If the universe is a reflection of us, then when we act beyond our nature, the universe will show us something beyond our perception of nature. So now you say, I know a person, they have a very controlling nature. They're always trying to control. Well, if one day that person overcomes that nature and says, no, I'm going to let the light of the Creator be in control, I'm going to let go of my manipulative control, they just created a miracle because they transcended their nature. So the universe has to reflect back something that they may have thought was impossible or miraculous, and it shows up. So we're the creator of miracles.
It sounds so easy to be able to do how you explain it. And I'm sure that gives people great hope.
Yeah. Well, that's why.
In our world.
Sure. Absolutely.
I want to thank you for joining today. Be prepared to be enraptured when learning new ways of looking at old topics when you experience Chaim Solomon's work. Websites, again, are www.kabbalah.com for general information on the Kabbalah and www.boca, spelled B-O-C-A, .kabbalah.com. Chaim Solomon excels at being able to land on his feet in tough situations so that others consider him as having a lucky streak. It can also be described as being able to make lemonade when life gives you lemons. The lucky streak found in the letter H in Chaim's first name. If you have an H in your first or middle name, then you have this ability also. Do you know where your genius lies? I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, host of the radio show Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which can be heard every weekday at various hours right here on xvbn.net radio and knowthename.com. Tune in to hear fascinating ways other people have discovered the genius in themselves and what they're able to accomplish every week right here in Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. This is Sharon Lynn Wyeth signing off.